Hi class, it's Teacher Lina. Today I am doing a really different vlog, as you might say, on how to understand ballets. So this one will specifically target story ballets because I love story ballets. So I really want to tackle audience etiquette, what to expect, and also about the story and how to understand the story. And then we'll go through one part of an act, and then I'll leave the rest to you all. I'll definitely do a different video on separate ballets. So I really wanted to do a video in each ballet that I love because I am going to love talking about ballets. And I know that once I start talking about ballets, I am not gonna stop because my passion and my work, I mean, like, this watching ballets is just my thing. I love watching old videos, old class videos, old DVDs. I'm just obsessed with collecting all this type of information, reading books about them, and just all things ballet. I got a lot into it, especially when it's kind of like getting into K-pop. I don't want to compare it, but I got into one person. You know how you get into K-pop and then, like, for example, I love BTS. I mean, and then, like, I love Jungkook, and then, like, eventually you know everyone because you got into one person. It's the same with ballet. I got into one person doing this ballet, and then I got into watching everyone else doing this ballet. So I would love to compare it to that feeling. So anyway, let's talk about first etiquette. So in a ballet, well, right now we're in a pandemic, so it's not really necessary. But if, let's say you do get to watch a ballet in the future after this pandemic is over, which should be on top of your list. First, of course, it would be good to be prepared and to know what to do. So you'll probably have your ticket and you'll have to go into your theater. You only applause in between dances. So you only applause unless something great is happening on stage. You'll hear everyone clap. But if nothing great is happening and it's just a dance, you don't need to clap. You just reserve your applause after a dance is done. And you'll know because the music stops and everyone just applauses. So that's when you should be applauding. And it's encouraged to applause because dancers love it. We love hearing the applause. Of course, if you don't like the part, then don't. But then I feel like if they did their job and they did well, then it always does deserve an applause. It's always very, very good to give encouragement to dancers on stage as they get encouraged to perform better also. And I love the applause you get in the start, especially when you hear the orchestra, which I'm about to talk about, because it's like one of my favorite things to hear is to start with the orchestra and then the applause that you hear and the silence. It's my favorite with the overture. But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what you need to do first. Should you or should you not dress up? I've been to ballets wearing jeans. Honestly, there are people who dress up, people who don't. Unless it's in opening night or a gala night, I don't think you really need to dress up. But it would help to look nice, I guess. I mean, it would be nice to look decent, smart casual probably, not a formal cocktail dress or anything, although I do see ball gowns from time to time. I think it's just the type of, we should make one, types of people who watch ballets. You see those people just taking Instagram photos and those people who are just there with their books, and then the other girls who are just in their buns. There are all types of people going to ballets, but it's nice to see a variety of them. Different countries, same etiquette. But I feel as though different theaters, different personalities. That's another thing that's so interesting. You watch in Japan, you get a different feel. You watch in the Philippines, you get a different feel. Definitely so far, far, far away. And then you watch in, let's say, Vienna, different feeling also. Russia, so different also. It's only in Russia that I encounter people on their phones filming dancers, and I don't know if that's a thing. The last time I went to the Mariinsky, I watched over maybe 10 different shows, I think in a span of 2 weeks or more than, I don't know. And you'd see so much people just whip out their phones and you're like, come on, we're in a ballet. So that's another rule. Don't bring out your phones while watching a ballet. It's not polite. and it isn't allowed in a lot of countries. Technically, they'll throw you out, but it seems to be okay in Russia. I am not sure why. Keep silent while watching and leave your comments for after the show. It's not really polite to be talking during the show. Usually, what I would do if I had comments, well, I'm a teacher, I write all my comments down, but then if it helps you, I guess you can write them down if you want to. If you don't want to, you can just watch and try to remember. Okay, which brings me to my next point. I want to talk about the story of the ballet. So I remember arguing with someone how they said the ballet should speak for itself. I think that when it comes to classical ballet, it's pretty hard to say because a lot of people don't watch or see classical ballet anymore. Unlike in the past where, you know, ballets, they go to the ballet and they watch plays and comedies, and this was their form of entertainment. Now we have movies and all these other things. I don't think that you'd know what's going on in a ballet if you don't really watch ballet a lot. So I feel like there is a need, especially right now, to do a bit of research. I'm not saying a lot. I think it's good to get a synopsis of what's happening in the ballet, just so that you know what really is going on, and then you'll be able to put your own interpretation into how they're acting or how they made you feel, or were they able to make you feel like that. I think that's where you can kind of criticize or give your own critique on the dancers or on the feel of the stage. And if they weren't successful, then that's your opinion. So I think that knowing the story, of course, very important. I mean, it's kind of like watching a movie trailer or knowing the story of the movie or whatever thing that you're watching before you actually watch it. I think you should do that for ballets. Anyways, let's get to a ballet. So I'm going to start with the opera and some scenes. I'll just explain what these dancers are doing and probably how they're grouped or what they're called, just so you have an idea. I am going through one of my most favorite ballets. To be honest, I really wanted to do a video on Alina Kozhikaru's Giselle with Manuel Legris. One of my favorites. You can look it up on YouTube, but they didn't have a full version of it on YouTube. So I found one of Marianela Nunez with Vadim Muntagirov. I am not a huge fan of this version. I love the dancers, of course. It's just that I really love the interpretation of Alina Kozhikaru and Manuel Legris, and they have their performance in the Tokyo performance up on YouTube, so you guys can check that out. I love her, and I love her. She plays Giselle so well. Anyway, so just to give you a bit of an overview, since I also asked you guys to kind of research and all of that, the Giselle is a ballet done in the Romantic period, which means it's kind of like art. Romantic period art or Romantic period poetry. You'd see elements of fairies, or what we have here are willies. So they're the lost souls, or the souls of girls who never got to their wedding day and you know, like they're cursed to dance forever. The willies are known to be beautiful and irresistible by men, and they just make you dance and dance and dance until you die if you get caught in their nighttime spell. So anyway, but they're the lost women's souls who never got to their wedding day. So that's what Giselle turned into. We're not gonna get to that part, but we're gonna get to the start before she got into that part and she died. So the making of Giselle's definitely like an innovation of what a romantic ballet is, because Giselle, you know, it has the elements of like the supernatural and all of this. I'm gonna quote something from my favorite books just so you understand it better. I love this book. If you guys ever see it, it's by George Balanchine. He wrote it, and I refer to this, and he can say it better than I can, so I'm gonna say it. He said, to be romantic about something is to see what you are and to wish for something entirely different. Can you believe he wrote this? Anyway, so he goes on and on by saying this requires magic. And of course, ballets like La Sylphide and all these ballets that are story ballets, which have these elements of supernatural and, you know, the symbol of pure love and light and all of that. Anyway, so I love romantic ballets because I am a romantic myself. A hopeless romantic. Anyway, we're gonna go through Act 1, one of my favorite acts. So I'll try to explain this better. Anyway, so we're here. Orchestra. One of my favorite moments. Here's the overture. I'll skip through the overture after you hear it. Do you hear that's really strong? So that's called your overture. It's like before it starts, you'll hear a brief overture. And you see it become soft, which kind of says a lot about the ballet already. How there's something strong that's gonna happen. Like there's death, it's tragedy also. And then there's also a romantic side, like this. And this sets the mood of the ballet. So I love this part of the ballet. So of course, when a dancer that you know comes out, you clap for them. So they like Vadim, you clap. And they know that. I think, like what I said about K-pop, it's kind of like fangirling, fanboying over someone. I guess dancers were kind of like those, the idols of the past. But yeah, not so big like that. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of entertainment back then. So that's his squire. Vadim is playing Albrecht, and this is his squire. He doesn't want anyone to know that he is a duke. So he hides in the cottage with his squire. And then the villagers come. Or well, the mom of Giselle comes out. It's cold, well, obviously. So try to observe the set and where it is. Obviously, they're in a village. These are villagers. Oh, that's my friend Letitia Sock on the left. And another dancer and a few other dancers. I'm pretty sure we'll see some familiar faces here. And this guy here over on the right is Hilarion. He is the jealous love interest of Giselle, or he likes Giselle, but she doesn't like him back. Ooh, love triangle. See, ballets can be really fun if you know the story. I think it would also help if you guys go and watch a ballet with someone who knows the story, so they can kind of give you an idea of like, oh, what's happening. I did that first when I did that with my friends before when they started watching ballets. So of course, he offers her a kiss. Kind of creepy in a way, but you know, the mom, I guess, favors him. You can see. And change of music. Of course, big music for Albrecht. I'm not a huge fan of Vadim in this because probably he looks so young to be an Albrecht. This can play out two ways, I guess. You can say he's young and he's good looking, or you can get a more mature guy who's also good looking. So can play out either way, I guess. Let's see how it goes. I have not watched his interpretation of Giselle. So his squire obviously is opposed to this idea that he knows there's a pretty girl there, and he's like, no, come on. You can see his face, it's like thinking. And he really wants to stay because he knows there's a pretty girl up there. Like, go away. See? This means beautiful. Yeah. So he whispers to the... He goes, okay, I'll leave you alone with a beautiful girl. So you see how it could be difficult for you to understand it if you have never watched a ballet. So in words like beautiful or lovely or think or things like this, very important. So he looks around, of course no one is there, and he's gonna try to kind of get her out of the house. He knocks, and he finally hears her, and she comes out. She's like, I heard a knock. Of course they clap. It's her first entrance. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. You guys can watch this on your own. I really would love to get to the waltz portion of this. So far, I hope that you're kind of understanding or following the story. I think it must be easier to watch with commentaries on, such as me talking. But try to listen to the tone of the music, because you can hear in Giselle's music, very bright, right? So it means she's very young and naive. I heard a knock, she said, and she's looking for it. She's like, I heard it, but I can't really see anyone around. Yeah. So you can hear in the tone of the music already how she's just a very happy girl who loves to dance, and it sets the tone of the ballet. So I am a big lover of classical music. If you guys don't have time or don't listen to classical music, I suggest getting into a lot of it. And just, there are some pieces that, I mean, this is where music started too. Oh my goodness. Like when you see how the history goes and how things started from this into growing into what it is today, it is amazing, and it is so lovely to still have ballet around. And this is the ballet nerd side of me, because I am a big ballet nerd. So let's skip into some core work, because this is all just romance and Albrecht trying to trick her and tell her that, you know, he loves her and all of this. So we're gonna go through this part where all the villagers come back, and they have grapes, because from what I know, it's a wine festival. It's like, oh, who's this guy? And she wants to introduce him to all the friends. And this is a very important part. Of course, he's good looking, because, I mean, she's surrounded by peasants every day, and this one guy is like special. You can say. This means dance. Yeah? It's like, with me? Where will I go? And she goes, you sit over there. So now you see ballet words of miming, and she's going to dance for him. And this is another waltz, another favorite of mine. The girls surrounding them, because I remember a friend of mine once asked me, what are those people? Why are they dancing? Or why do they have all these group dancing? That's called core work, or your corps de ballet. So core work, or the corps de ballet, the group dances, they're the body of the ballet. I would like to think, because they are just like, they're the thing that makes everything whole, to set the scene. So it's very important to have core dancers, because it sets the tone. For example, it's a ball, you'd have ballroom dancing. So this is the waltz with the villagers, where it sets the mood of the ballet. And without this waltz, there would just be story and story and story and nothing in between. You can appreciate core work also. What's great to look at when you want to observe core work is the lines and the formations. So if I was, well, I'm a dance teacher. If I was an audience member, I'd love to see very clean lines, how they interact, or how they kind of crisscross from each other. And well, I guess because I'm a teacher, I look at it like that, and it's like, wow, it's so clean. But it's amazing, because it takes hours and hours of practice to get that right. Myself included, I remember practicing from sometimes 6 to 10 p.m. just to get a certain arm movement right. I remember I was in Swan Lake, we do arms like this, and we just spent a whole 20 minutes doing this, switching from here to here, and just like switching back, or like because we're on the side of the core, and it was so important for the teacher to get it right, or like Tan, taram, 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 taram. Oh, sorry, I'm marking my arms. It's not okay. But that is so important to see everyone dance together. Without people dancing together, then, you know, like, it would be a mess on stage. So let's get to my favorite part of this core dance, which is the corner sequence. So I love this corner sequence. And watch the core. Lovely turn. Love you, Miss Nella. I don't know if she ever watches my vlogs. I really love her. And she feels faint. So here's the part of the story ballet. She feels weak. She actually has a weak heart, and like, she doesn't feel so well and she needs to rest. Yeah, this is why her mom discourages her from dancing, but she still insists on dancing. And this is one of my favorite parts too. It's the long diagonal sequence. Do you see how you move the X? That is so hard to do. And usually they do it in a very long diagonal, but this is pretty difficult to do because the people on the outside, you have to move bigger than the people on the inside. So you can imagine how hard it is for someone on the end to move than on the person inside. So the people on the inside are kind of relaxed. The people on the end are kind of like just trying to run after the line, even if it doesn't look like so. Okay, and I'm gonna cut it here because my vlog is gonna be so long already. But here, this is my teaser, and this is a way that you can probably watch or appreciate ballets online. I feel as though it would be so much fun if you can watch them with a friend. But just to give you guys some entertainment, I decided to do this for you as requested by a friend of mine. And I feel as though we can do this for a lot of ballets, which I have in store, because ballet or watching ballets, it's one of my passions. And not having the theater right now to watch anything, I am taking every advantage I can to watch different shows being streamed online by different ballet companies who are currently closed but are trying to get out shows right now. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vlog of mine where I am trying to bring out my personality more, which is being a dance nerd and loving parts of the ballet, which I can help you appreciate maybe ballet more if you're not a dancer or a dancer. Hope you enjoyed this vlog, and let us know what else you'd love to hear on the comment section. And always, again, please support us on our dancebylina.com website where you can buy merchandise, because of course we can't earn from this video having classical music. So your support means so much to us, and this is just something I do on the side as a dance teacher. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I'll see you till our next ones, and thank you everyone.